Mike Moore Media.
Thank you so much for joining us again today. I'm Lydia Craddock. I love what I do. I do what I love, and one of the things that I do is work with the Rockingham County Public School System, connecting students to apprenticeships and working with workforce development projects. Now, I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today, Mr. William Bradshaw. He is a teacher at Reedsville High School. And Mr. Bradshaw, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Now, Mr. Bradshaw is I'm going to tell you lots of things about him, very exciting, but he is a career and technical education teacher at Reedsville High School. Mr. Bradshaw, career and technical education teaching, what is it and why do you think it's important?
Oh, it's an amazing curriculum to teach. There are so many excellent classes to take, from engineering to foods to nursing and fashion design. And these classes allow students to explore possible career paths going after high school and to really pursue an interest that they may have in a very specific field.
And you know, Mr. Bradshaw, I like that phrase that I've heard you use. These courses allow students to explore, but also to pursue, because some students come to you already knowing.
That is right.
Okay, great. So tell us, CTE, Career and Technical Education courses, what do you teach?
I currently teach Technology, Engineering, Design. Love teaching that class to open students' eyes about how the world works around us and why it works. And I also teach Game Art and Design with the Creative Design Arts and Academy.
Okay, now, you do other things over there too, because I think it's on Wednesday afternoons. Is it Wednesday afternoons where the halls are full with people coming to your classroom?
That is correct.
Okay.
I also run a club called the Anime Club, which draws 30 to 50 students every Wednesday.
Okay, you got to slow down with that one. I'm an old person here. What is an anime club?
Anime is Japanese cartoons, just to simplify it. If any of my Anime Club members are listening to me, they're going, no, that's not quite it, Bradshaw. But it's Japanese cartoons that covers a range of genres, creativity, and students absolutely love it. I actually mine the Anime Club to pull students into the Creative Design Arts Academy.
So you have 30 to 50 kids in that every week?
Yes.
Now, what kids are coming to that?
There are all kinds of kids that come in. I get students who have a general interest in anime, students who are your hardcore anime watchers. But the reason that I run Anime Club, and this started about 15 years ago, is because it serves underserved and potentially undervalued students at school who don't belong to any other clubs, who don't feel like they are important enough to attend any other events at school. And they come into a family-friendly environment that they can be themselves and they can really flourish and they can really make themselves known.
I remember my first introduction to anime. I would have students in the classroom, they were doodling, and I would look at their doodles and I would say, what is that? And then I realized it was its own unique style. And you are right. Those were often students that were not in other activities.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And they... the beautiful thing is that they express themselves very often through art, and they will draw their favorite anime characters, favorite scenes, and when I see this, I immediately say, hey, we got a place for you in this academy.
Okay, tell us about that place. Tell us about that academy.
The Creative Design Arts Academy is present at Reedsville High School to foster graphics design, fashion design, and sorry, I lost my train of thought. So graphic design, fashion design, and game art design, of course. Yeah. That's exactly what I teach. So students who have an interest in drawings, do web design, software development, there are all kinds of avenues that they can pursue, and we take those interested students and we point them in the right direction and teach them amazing skills that they can use after high school.
So you are teaching technology and engineering design.
Correct.
Which is... we think of that for the engineer and for the architect. There's a lot of creativity with that.
Absolutely there is.
But then you also are working with this anime club where the creativity expresses itself a little differently.
Yes.
And I know you've got some great colleagues over there in the Arts Academy.
They are amazing. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, they inspire me to do so much. And we all have a mission to bring these kids into the academy treat them as family, motivate them as family, and see to it that they excel every step of the way.
And I think it's important that we understand that students can get a good basic high school education at every single one of our high schools.
That's correct.
But each of our high schools has an academy as a specialty, that if a student is headed in a certain direction at that school, at that academy, they can get extra courses and extra help in the area they're exploring or pursuing.
That's exactly right. And there are so many amazing academies around our district. I mean, our district is unique in its strengths in that regard. And if a student's not interested in graphics design, they can go to robotics at McMichael,
Right.
or go to Rockingham for the Fire
safety.
Academy, right? Fire safety. And there's just an amazing path for everyone. And the one thing about our academy at Reedsville, the Creative Design Arts Academy, is that students are transferring in to go to our academy. There are so many good things happening there, and we have a lot of fun while we do it.
Right. And I know that when we talk about these academies, sometimes parents don't realize that a student can transfer
That's right.
to another school based on that interest. So we've got you doing this very academic engineering course. We've got you doing this very artistic thing with the anime club. But then there's this other thing that involves flippers that you're involved in.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So I have a passion for swim coaching, and one of my missions at school is to grow our swim team. Our swim team is not a traditional swim team compared to other schools in the area, but there are so many athletes that need to be on that team. They just don't know it yet. So we just started having interest meetings. I'm going to grow this team into a conference contender within, I'm saying, 7 years. That's
Okay,
what
so we're good. All right.
But it, more than that. It's
Right.
a place for students to discover themselves, and students who never thought about doing a sport to come in and enjoy learning a life sport that is swimming, but then learn how to compete and manage all the emotions that play into that sport that also can translate to life in general.
Okay, so our listeners can tell from the conversation that we have an exceptionally well-rounded teacher here. We have someone very academically oriented, very artistically oriented, very athletically oriented. And so now I just have to get to the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is to offer to Mr. Bradshaw our congratulations. He is the Teacher of the Year for Rockingham County Schools. I don't know how many teachers we have, elementary, middle school, and high school. I think it's a gazillion, but no matter how many, it's a lot of them. And he is our Teacher of the Year. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to represent the county as we move toward regional consideration, and especially the CTE teachers. I'm a representative for all CTE teachers, and I take it seriously. And I'm so excited because I'm motivated by so many excellent teachers in career and technical education, whether I'm working directly with them or whether they're distributed around the county or even in the region, because we all know what our respective missions are, and our objectives are absolutely the same, and that's to prepare our students for a career after high school.
And, in case anyone thinks that Teacher of the Year is a popularity contest, well, certainly Mr. Bradshaw is a very popular teacher. But the nominations for Teacher of the Year are done by colleagues who understand the paradigm of teaching, who understand the challenges. So you started off being nominated at Reedsville High School.
That's right.
The Reedsville staff voted on who they wanted to be their Reedsville High School Teacher of the Year.
Yes.
And then you had some work to do after that. What happened next?
I had to submit a portfolio that explained my philosophy on teaching, presented artifacts of my work, also indicate what my teaching philosophy is. And it had to be reviewed by the school board, as well as some of our regional leaders in the school system. And then 5 candidates were chosen to be interviewed.
Okay, tell us about that interview.
Oh, it was absolutely amazing. I was nervous, of course, going into it. I walked into the room, and I was so excited to see all kinds of amazing people in there, members of our school board, and Dr. Shotwell, and so many people from central office that I had seen names for and heard about. But now I finally got to meet them, and I was so excited. The energy in the room was fantastic. We have such great leadership here in the county, and I'm so glad to be part of that. And I just went in and talked. We had a great dialogue, great discussion about all things related to education.
You know what? I forgot to mention that other thing, talking about you as a well-rounded teacher.
Okay.
You also are a DJ.
Oh, my.
Yeah, people can probably tell that from your voice. But let me go back to this, the Teacher of the Year. You went through that interview.
Yes.
And then what happened when you found out how did you find out you were Rockingham County Public Schools Teacher of the Year?
Right, about 3 weeks later, I'm guessing, I'm quietly working in my room on a teacher work day, and my colleagues, who are absolutely amazing at Reidsville, they one by one start sauntering into my room, and they're just saying, hey, Bradshaw, what's going on? And then after they come in, then a member of the school board comes in, and then Dr. Shotwell, and then the whole amazing entourage comes in, and I knew what was happening, and I just was so excited. I couldn't contain my excitement. And what an amazing day. What an amazing launch into being able to represent the county going forward.
So what happens next?
I am preparing a portfolio, and will be conducting interviews to try to earn the Regional Teacher of the Year honor.
Great. We wish you luck on that. Not luck. We want those evaluators to have clear minds, because obviously when they look at your stuff, they're going to realize that you're the best. And so we're hoping for regional results, and then we do state results.
Right.
And then wouldn't it be fantastic if we did U.S. results and where our name was on?
Would be absolutely
because
amazing.
We're all taking credit for your success. We want to hook onto that. But go back. I want to go back to something that you said about, I've enjoyed hearing what you say to your students about being nervous. You said you were nervous when you went into that interview. And this is a nervous time in many ways for our students. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you say to students about being nervous.
Well, as we heard, 5 or 10 minutes ago, I lost my train of thought. That's part of my nervousness. So sometimes I stutter, I stammer, I forget my train of thought, but then I pick myself up and I laugh my way out of it. I try to manage it. So one of the things I learned as a sports coach was not to tell my athletes to not be afraid. And I've learned to tell them, it's okay to be afraid. We just have to learn how to manage it. So, and I take that into the classroom, especially on presentation days. And I tell my students, I will have you up in front of the class to learn to manage this thing regularly. And I tell them, it's okay to be afraid.
Great.
Manage it.
Great. Mr. Bradshaw, I would love to be in your class. We've just got a couple more minutes. And before you go, I want to hear, just real briefly, what is your philosophy of education?
I have learned over the years from coaching and from being in the classroom that there are 3 primary tenets that I go by every day. And one of them is fun. The second is challenge. And the third is education. So in my classroom every day, I want to laugh. Students want to laugh. I want to educate, but I don't want to make it easy. And I tell them, if you're struggling, I'm good with that, because we are going to overcome those obstacles, and we're going to learn along the way. And the experience that you have and the feeling that you have when you overcome these obstacles will be absolutely amazing, because if it's made too easy, and they don't like when I say this, if it's too easy, it's not worthwhile. So we laugh while we're being educated and while we are challenged through it all. I think those are 3 important things in a classroom. I don't believe that students have to sit still all the time and be good listeners and things, and I believe that they should be up and there should be some chaos in the room, and I believe that we should have fun while we're learning.
Great. Mr. Bradshaw, thank you so much for joining us today. And listeners, if you would like to know more about the Creative Arts and Design Academy at Reidsville High School, simply do a Google search, Reidsville High School. You'll find all of that information. You can also click, if you want to see the face behind the voice for Mr. Bradshaw, you can also click. His picture is there. Talks about the courses he teaches. We appreciate community support for our public school. We appreciate support for our Teacher of the Year. And we hope that you will all wish him well as he travels to regionals and then, Lord willing, on to state. Mr. Bradshaw, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun.